Euzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. İnnallâhe işterâ minel mü'minîne enfusehum ve emvâlehum bi enne lehumul cennet yuqâtilûne fî sebîlillâhi feyaktulûne ve yuktelûn. Va'den aleyhi hakkan fit-Tevrâti vel İncîl vel Kur'an. وَمَنْ أَوْفَى بِعَهْدِهِ مِنَ اللّٰهِ فَاسْتَبْشِرُوا بِبَيْعِكُمُ الَّذِي بَايَعْتُم بِهِ وَذَٰلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. Sadakallahul azim. In the Surat At-Tawbah, Allah Jalla is saying that indeed Allah has purchased of the believers their lives and their properties for the price that there shall be the Jannah, paradise. They fight in Allah's cause, so they kill others and get killed. It is a promise in truth which is binding on him in Taurat and Injeel and in Quran. And who is truer to his covenant than Allah? Who is truer to his promise than Allah? Then rejoice in the transaction which you have concluded. That is the supreme success. So in this ayat, as far as Allah Jalla Jalaluhu's deen, Islam, is concerned, the nature of the relationship between Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and mu'mineen, the true believers, is explained. Explained in such that it is a transaction, such that somebody is selling something, somebody is buying something. It's a bargain. You give something, you take something. It's an exchange. You purchase something. So, the belief, the faith, the iman is not something metaphysical, something abstract that you don't see, but this is put in terms of what we can understand, which is a transaction between the Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and the mu'mineen, the believers. So, what is the transaction? The believers will give Allah, sell Allah, what? Their belongings and their lives. Their belongings and their lives. In return, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu promises them Jannah, paradise. So we need to put a little magnifying glass on something that this transaction is, if you're aware of the situation, actually is not necessary, it seems like, right? Because the true owner of the person's life and the possessions is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. He is the Malik al-Mulk. He is the true owner of everything. He created everything. He is in charge of everything. He sustains and maintains everything. Therefore, in reality, we really don't own anything. So, the glass that we're going to look into is a small portion of this big picture, is that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu created and Malik al-Mulk. He is the owner of everything. He is the sustainer anyway. So, in a worldly understanding that you go to a store, you buy something and pay money, this is a little bit different. Okay? In the beginning, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu created everything and He is the owner of everything. So what happens is that He gives people like us a free will that we can use this free will and free choice the way we want to. So, He is the owner, and He gives us some things such as our life and our possessions, and He gives us free will, and freedom of choice of the things that He gives us temporarily to use. He created life and death and life. So it doesn't change the fact that even though we have temporary ownership of these things, that the real owner, real creator is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. So, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gave each person the choice to use that for either good or bad. And this transaction is completely without pressure or without any kind of force. It's completely voluntary. This agreement between the Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and the believer is completely voluntary. There's no pressure. There's no force being used. And this is the same thing to accept Islam. There's no force, there's no use of force. And then the person that has that free will now can do what? Choose to acknowledge the real owner, or to say, what He gave me is mine. I'll do whatever I want with it. Free will, free choice. But the choice is very simple. There's no 5 ways to do it. There's only 2. Oh Allah, you're the owner of everything. You gave me everything. I don't know where I came from. And then you're my real owner of everything. But you gave me free will to use it in good or bad. And then we can leave the choice of good or bad to the will of Allah. How do you do that? Quran and Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Using somebody's life and their possessions correctly means following what's in the Quran and Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In other words, Malik al-Mulk, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gives us things, and then we promise to Him, and we show Him, of course, throughout our life, that we're going to use everything you've given us on your cause, the way you will be pleased, and in return, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gives us paradise. What a great transaction. Okay, then where is the test? Where is the imtihan in this whole picture? How is that person going to behave even though they might have shahada, even though they might have said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. They might have said that in words. They might do their salah. But if they still say their possessions belong to them and they will spend it the way they want, that is the imtihan. That is the test. That test is not being passed thinking this way. Only way to pass the test is to think and showing actions that everything belongs to Allah anyway. He just gave me this to use temporarily. He will take all of it back. He will take my life. He will take my possessions. When I die, it will be distributed to people that I designate. and they're not mine anyway. So I don't know when he's going to take my life back, and I don't know after my life is over where my possessions are going to go. I might say, but is it going to really happen? Are they going to fight it among themselves? So truly, he is the owner. So if we submit to that, and if we say, oh Allah, everything you've given me, including my life, is yours, and I will use it the way that you will be pleased. And then this imtihan, this test, is beautifully passed. It's clear that whoever does it this way is mu'min, a true believer. It's that simple. Whoever does this transaction with Allah Jalla Jalaluhu this way, he is considered, or she is considered, a true believer. Whoever, so the iman, the faith, is a different explanation of this transaction. This is how iman is manifesting itself in real life, not in words, but the transaction that we complete with Allah Jalla Jalaluhu to put in action every day. Okay, whoever doesn't want to have this agreement, oh, this is mine, I will use it the way I want. Or whoever does make a commitment, but then change their mind. Or they don't fulfill their promise and they don't spend it the way that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu wants, they are not believers. The line is very cut and dry. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu knows what we don't know. He sees what we don't see. We might see people praying. We might see people doing certain rituals. That doesn't mean they are sincere in their heart of who all this belongs to. Okay, the imtihan has two sections. If we really look at it carefully, the first one is that even though Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gives a person freedom of choice to use their life, their time, and their money and possessions, and if that person says, no, this belongs to Allah, I'll use it the way He wants me to use it, is he going to be betraying what the trust Allah Jalla Jalaluhu has put on that person with all the possessions and responsibilities and everything? Is he going to betray Allah? Or is he going to be true to Him and acknowledge all this, including the maqam, the position that person is in, they have to use it the way it pleases Allah. They have to distribute justice evenly, the way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. The second one is, if you do that, what are you showing? You're showing that if you follow this, do you trust Allah or not? If you trust Allah, then you wait anxiously to die. Why? Allah promised you Jannah. Allah promised you paradise. Why wouldn't you look forward to that? So the person leaves their free will to Allah or not. And then if they do they trust Allah the rest of their life that the promise He gives will be fulfilled? Of course, there's going to be a little hiccups, there's going to be a little slip-ups. We're human beings. So the reward is eternal. Eternal happiness with people that are, Allah is pleased with them. To spend time or be in Jannah means that this is the same type of people that are in it together, that trusted Allah, put their life and possessions on His cause, on His way, and then is rewarded to be in Jannah. So, bottom line is that somebody can accept Islam, oneness of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, and say that they acknowledge Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as his slave and messenger, but internally there's a different process that they have to go through by submitting their possessions and their lives and offering it to Allah, and of course Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if a person accepts Islam, but if that person still says that, all right, my spirit, my body, my consciousness, my nafs, and my mulk, whatever I possess, belongs to me, and I have to decide, I will decide what I have, they're not considered, their iman, their faith, their acceptance is complete. Like Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you became Islam. You haven't become Muslim yet. And then there's the second stage of being a mu'min, a true believer. Clearly, whoever does not spend their time, their life, and their possessions on the way of Allah, no matter what they say in their mouth, and no matter what they practice during the day, that means that person is not acknowledging Allah Jalla Jalaluhu as his creator and his sultan. So there's a clear line between mu'min, believers, and non-believers. This applies to not only to individuals, but this applies to countries. If a country says we are Muslim, we're majority Muslim, politically, number one, politically, what does that mean that we are Muslim, but we don't want to be ruled by Muslim Sharia rules? Does that make sense? Oh Allah, we're happy with you to accept you as our creator, but we're not happy with your Sharia, with your laws that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam showed us. But we're not pleased with that. So if a country does that, socially, politically first, culturally, they say we're Muslim, but they accept other cultures and put it in front of everybody as this is how Islam is. It's the same as a person not making that transaction, this agreement with Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. It's individually and it is collectively applied to everybody and every nation. It's not enough to say we're Muslim. We have to submit our life and our positions on the way to make it work. So, individually or as a nation, we need to revisit that the criteria is the Quran and Sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If we submit to that our lives, our possessions, then the agreement between the person and Allah and the nation and Allah is fulfilled. If not, it's incomplete. So in this transaction, a person lives a life with this commitment, but trusts Allah that the reward will be paradise. At every step of the way, there is no deviation, there is no doubt that the reward for this is eternal happiness. And with Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, understanding that the people that did the same thing will be in the same place. People that did not fulfill their covenant or their agreement will be in a different place. So if a person, if we see that this is between us, among us, that the criteria, good criteria obviously is that if somebody says, oh, I'm a Muslim, oh, I believe in Allah, I love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they don't spend their time, and they don't spend their possessions to elevate Islam, elevate Kalamullah, elevate the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are imposters. They're deceivers. They're not true to the covenant that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu makes with true believers. So let's revisit the ayah that we're talking about, which is in the Surat At-Tawbah, Ayat 111. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is saying that indeed Allah has purchased from the believers their lives and their properties. In exchange for that, they will have paradise. They fight in the cause of Allah, so they kill and are killed. It is a true promise binding upon Allah, Him, in the Torah, Taurat, in the Injeel, and in the Quran. And who is truer to His covenant than Allah? So rejoice in your transaction. Be happy in your transaction which you have contracted. And it is that which is the great success, attainment, supreme success, to make this agreement and fulfill it. So, let's remember the time that from Medina people, there's two tribes, mainly Aus and Khazraj. They came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca, Aqaba, and they said, Ya Rasulullah, tell us the conditions for your Rabb, for your Lord, and yourself. What are your conditions? They came. 70 or 74 people. Abdullah bin Rawaha, radiallahu anhu, he asked this question to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is the conditions? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that for my Rabb, for my Lord, I want you to do ibadah to Him, and then don't put any equals to it. This is for Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. And for me, as you protect your lives and your possessions, you do it every day. I want you to protect me. That's the only thing he asked for himself. Abdullah bin Rawaha radiallahu anhu, he asked, okay, if we do this, what are we going to get? A good question, logical question. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one word answered the question, Jannah. If you do your ibadah for Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and don't put equals to Him, and for me you protect me, like you protect your lives and your possessions, then your reward will be Jannah. And then he gave the best answer. What a profitable exchange. What a profitable transaction, he said. He said, we will never know this agreement, or we will never break it. He promised that. And he held it true. Even though Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before he left Mecca, he said, oh Allah, I will never leave Mecca unless I was forced to do it. Even though his heart was in Mecca, he spent the rest of his life in Medina, as he is so true and faithful to people who made this agreement. And he is still buried to honor them with his presence in Medina. Allah is always true to his word. What better place is to be in Medina? If that's not Jannah, Masjid Nabawi, where is it? So the Ansar, with their commitment, they showed truly that they will give up their life and their possession for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in return, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, promised them Jannah. And they believed and they accepted the agreement. And now, millions and millions of people visit and show our appreciation for what they have done to help Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though before that he asked many groups and people and individuals to do that. But it was the Ansar that answered that agreement with favorable answer. And now all we have to do is be like Ansar. Tell Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we're going to give all our possessions, all our life, and everything we have for you, Rasulullah, to protect you, to protect the deen that you have shown us. And we're going to live and die in that cause.